Top five, top five, top five.
So topical back with another video. I'm Strange Wang. He is Nate. Today we're doing top 5 movie performances from the people's champ himself. The jabroni beating, pie eating, trail blazing, lay it down, smack it down, people's champ, The Rock. Dwayne Johnson. But because I love wrestling, old wrestling, he will always hold a special place in my heart and always be The Rock. So many memories. That's because of The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, young Strange Wang learned what poontang pie was.
Oh.
He also got me in trouble.
The father figure you always needed.
He also got me in trouble in elementary school for saying poontang pie.
Oh.
But thank you, Dwayne. We're doing top 5 Rock movies because of his newest film, The Jungle Cruise, which looks fantastic for the most part. Not a fan of the CGI stuff. Should be a fun movie overall. Can't wait to see it. But what does Dwayne Johnson have that we also have?
He definitely has social media. And his social media is pretty interesting because he posts videos or pictures sometimes of his like cheat meals. And it's funny because the podcast I listen to regularly calls him out because they're like, there's no way that he actually eats that shit because he is so like...
He's The Rock.
I don't think he
actually
does.
eats that shit. Yeah.
He also posted a picture, I know this is so unrelated, but I find him fascinating, and we're talking about it today. He posted a picture claiming that he couldn't get inside, because obviously he has a lot of money and doesn't want people bothering him at his house. So he has a gate that for vehicles to go in and out of his property.
Obviously.
And he posted a picture claiming that he couldn't get in the gate, so he ripped it off with his bare arms, but...
that's a cap.
That's a cap. And he 100% probably hit it with his car or someone hit it with their car. But respect. Anyways. I'm sorry. He is a fascinating guy.
He's the best.
Social media. Our links to our social media are down in the description area below. So go open that up and click on those. You'll also find links to our coffee account and our Patreon. And, The Rock, he's changed so much from his beginnings. He's gone, he's worked his way up. One of the most recognizable wrestlers in history, even as someone who didn't watch wrestling like that. And now has become this metamorphosis into, like, the idea of a movie star, not what it used to be, right? But, like, I feel like The Rock is one of, like, the last actual, like, movie stars. Like, in terms of what celebrity is, he encompasses it. And we want to grow and change as well. And we can't do that without your help and financial support. So if you click on the coffee or Patreon and join one of those, we'd greatly appreciate it. If you don't know how we do our top 5s, he's going to start with his 5 and 4. I'm going to start with my 5 and 4, 3, 2, 3, 2. Then we trade off number 1s. We also have something called the Zemeckis rule, which just means if we both have the same movie on our list, but one person has it 2 spots or higher, we'll save the conversation until we get to it theirs.
Yeah, and if you're watching this, Dwayne, drop a C note. Just a C note. That's like blow your nose money for you.
That's true.
We got soundboards being held up by guitar stands.
Or send us some Terramana because I like tequila.
Yeah, for sure. So, starting with my number 5, we're going to go with his role as Driver in the film Faster. He's just a fucking badass. And he doesn't talk a lot. You could take all of his dialogue from that movie and write it on my Coke nail. That is how much dialogue he has in that movie. So how is his performance on my list? Because of the body language.
Makes sense.
I believe this dude is a badass.
Yeah, that's fair.
And he sells that perfectly. So because of his badassness, it made my list because it reminded me of an old 80s action movie. And I love old 80s action movies.
Yeah.
Old 80s action movies to me are like what the Marvel Cinematic Universe is to comic book people. Like, I love those movies.
Yeah. I've never seen that movie. But I will say, for someone who has like partially made their career by being such a good talker, like that was probably big for his movie career to be able to show off that he has other acting chops.
Well, that's true. My number 4 is going to be, it was a 3-way tie, and it has a lot to do with nostalgia. For the Scorpion King, Walking Tall, but I cut it down. I'm definitive 1, and it's going to be The Rundown as his role in Beck, because you get the best of all the Dwayne Johnsons. And he plays very well off of Rosario Dawson, Sean William Scott, Christopher Walken. So he just gets to show range, and the best version of The Rock at that point was in this movie. That was his best performance. Because you got to hear him talk, you got to hear him be funny, and body language is there, the action's there. charisma, all packed in that performance.
Nice. All right, so my number 5 is one of those moments where we have to go back and clarify. These are our favorite Rock performances. I'm not trying to be super objective or definitive here. Because
If you say Doom, you're doing the rest of the video by yourself.
No, it's not Doom.
Okay.
I did go with Rampage, though. It's not a good movie.
I'd rather watch Doom.
But I found him, like, I love The Rock in that movie. The script did not do him any justice. And I really fucking hate monkeys. But, like, in terms of just, like, a really bad, like, cheesy action movie, I thoroughly enjoyed The Rock in that. And I don't know if I can explain why. I think it was how much... Honestly, I think a lot of my endearment towards that movie just came from laughing so much at how bad it was in the theater with you, because we saw that movie together. But that's my number 5. So my number 4, I thought about just taking the character as a whole, because we do that sometimes as kind of a cheat on the lists, but I decided to just pick one of the Fast and Furious films.
Zemeckis.
Oh, okay.
Because I did not choose one. I took them all.
Nice. Okay. I mean, we do that sometimes.
But my number 3 is going... It might be a Zemeckis, honestly. Dr. Bravestone, Jumanji.
This is Zemeckis.
Okay.
Yeah.
My number 2 is going to be Paul Doyle from Pain and Gain.
Yeah, that's my number 3.
So Paul Doyle in this movie, he's a criminal, religious freak who snorts cocaine off of the asses of bad bitches.
Not a lot of people really like that movie. It's got its pacing issues and stuff like that, but I kind of liked it a little bit.
His performance makes that movie watchable.
To me, it does. He's the best part of that movie, hands down. And, like, just as a character by itself and, like, how he interacts with Wahlberg in that movie is hilarious to me. I love a good dark comedy. I don't think that I've seen The Rock do anything like what he's done in Pain and Gain in terms of, like, that style of movie. And to me, it really worked. So I would like to see him do more of that stuff. But yeah, seeing him play that kind of role, because he's just always like the good guy, right? So seeing him play like this really dark, just seedy, kind of dumb dude who is like clearly not fucking stable it was fascinating, and I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, that was my number 2. So what is your number 2?
Yeah, so my number 3 is Pain and Gain. My number 2...
It doesn't matter what your number 2 is. Bro. Jabroni.
I actually just watched the video earlier today of Mick Foley doing that to him.
Oh, fuck Mick Foley.
I love Mick Foley.
Disrespecting The Rock.
So he smiled. So my number 2 it's short, not in there for very long, but I love it. That's The Other Guys.
Your number 2, really?
Yeah, dude, I love that shit.
Jeez.
Like, I love that movie as a whole. But to me, so like I think why I love The Rock so much in that movie is because just like with Pain and Gain, something that like we don't normally see him in, watching him play that character, I love that. Like I don't like I'll probably watch most Rock movies that come out now because like they're always going to be talked about. We're gonna have to talk about them on the channel. Not that we wouldn't want to, because we like The Rock. But I want to see him do more stuff like that. Make him just this fucking smart ass. Because he's still a badass.
Yeah.
Granted, his badassery makes him commit suicide on accident. But I love The Rock in those roles. Like, he pulls it off so well to me. Like, that is just such a sweet spot. I want so much more of that kind of The Rock. And
very similar to those wrestling days.
But it's like...
I think that's why it works so much.
That's fair. But like also that role is just like so critical to the film because it makes how much the other guys suck. Like to have Sam Jackson and The Rock to compare them to in that film. Like that really just helps you buy into like what their status in their department is.
Good point. You're so smart.
So I know it's a really, really small role and that he's not in there for that long. But if I'm talking about my favorite things that I've seen The Rock in, like, that is way the fuck up there for me.
Well, if that was the case, I would put Beyond the Mat documentary on there because he's in that, but, jeez.
Was he acting, though?
No. Documentary's still filmed, though.
It's still filmed.
Exactly.
But his performances.
Yeah. whatever you say. My number one is the Fast movies as Luke Hobbs. It just gets so many dynamics. You know, you can have him rock bottoming Vin Diesel through a table, and then you can have him say, "Better hold your baby oil." Yeah, for that big ass forehead.
Yeah,
being funny as hell. And then, because there is so many people in this franchise, his relationship with each person differs. And then we meet Shaw. And then the funness from that movie, so much fun I had in that movie, and how much of a badass he is in 8 and 5. So it encapsulates, like, how good The Rock is.
Yeah.
Because of this movie, he was nicknamed Franchise Viagra.
It's true.
Like, so much charisma. And today I saw he announced he's leaving the Fast and Furious franchise.
Right.
So, good for him.
Yeah.
Because you've done everything you need to. You don't need to stay
Well, that's not why.
and be still.
But he hates Vin Diesel.
Yeah, but it also makes sense.
No, it does.
Like, what else are you going to do with this movie?
It's also good for him to get out because, like, there's only, I agree. But
they peaked, and then that Rock Tomato score, like, went down significantly. He was in the movie, so it's not his fault. But nonetheless, the range, the funness of this character, these ludicrous movies are fun. He's fun in them. It wasn't until he got in them until they got fun for me. But I'm an action guy.
yeah.
So, because of bringing me so much action fun, I had to put Luke Hobbs as my number one.
That's fair. So I specifically, just because I wanted to, honestly, I mean, I would have felt comfortable just taking the character as a whole. Because it's not like he necessarily has a ton of, like, character growth. Like, he switches from being this by-the-book agent to, like, ultimately befriending this group of criminals.
Yeah.
But other than that, not a ton of growth for his character. But I specifically picked Fast 5 for
Unless
my
you talk
list.
about his muscles.
Right. I just went specifically with Fast 5 for my list. It was the introduction we got to the character. That whole franchise Viagra thing really makes perfect sense because I enjoyed the Fast and the Furious movies up to that point, but that character himself really did just, like, lift everything up. And with the direction that they started taking, them being more action-oriented than just, like, street racing type movies, it needed someone who could really help them pull that off. And, like, obviously being, like, he's an antagonist in 5, you know, so-ish. But having, like, that imposing force to, like, go against them, like, physically and, like, in the character that he's able to pull off very well, just lifts everything up. So I went with 5 specifically.
That's cool.
And that means your number one is Jumanji.
My number one is Jumanji, specifically Welcome to the Jungle.
Me too.
The second one was okay.
I knew what to expect in the second one.
Yeah.
You know? But it's your number one. Talk about it first, dog.
Yeah. I mean, so Jumanji, the first one, was a massive part of my childhood. I can't tell you how many times I've seen that movie. Freaking loved it so much. And it is actually a really, really dark movie to be letting kids watch. So when they announced the new one, I wasn't happy about it. When I saw the first trailer and saw that we're switching to this, like, video game thing, I was like, oh my God. Like, that movie was, like, the biggest surprise of that year for me.
Yeah.
I fucking loved it. It was, it blew me away. And it's so...
It blew us away because we saw it in the theater.
We did
that day.
see it
because that's the day I
Sandals.
met what's her name, and then afterwards we made love for 7 months straight.
Not us.
No, not me and him.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
So, and when I say it blew me away, I'm not saying, you know, it's a perfect film, but like compared to my expectations,
the jokes, the adult jokes, the action,
it
everything.
was so funny, man. And it went far enough away from the original to where, like, it was hard to even compare them. So it's like, other than the name itself and kind of the premise, like, whatever. But yeah, he's hilarious in it. He does such a good job because, you know, anytime you do a body switching movie, it's like you have to act like how the person you switched bodies with would. So watching him keep this, like, insecure, like, teenage boy vibe while, like, you know, obviously all the characters, you know, grow because they have to, like, literally take on these different roles. So watching what he turns into, it's freaking great, and he sells it super well, and I love that movie.
Yeah, as you mentioned when you you put some shitty the Rampage. That's the one you put on your list.
like
As you mentioned, these are our favorite
Yes.
performances. This is his best, I think, because of that aspect of we seen him be a badass. Let's see him be a 12-year-old boy that's nervous and has all these
A little older than
insecurities.
12, but yeah.
What? All right, 16.
Yeah. That's closer.
That's a lot older than 12. And he nailed it right on the head. For me, the reason why it's my number 3 and not my number 1, again, I do think it's his best performance, but it does get overshadowed because we have,
Like an ensemble.
yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin Hart.
Yeah. Jack Black, Karen
Yeah.
Gillan. Yeah.
They're all killing it. Same type of role, kind of, too, you know? So it doesn't get overshadowed, but it's like I'm seeing it 4 times. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, it's my number 3. But like you said, you know, like so much fun.
Yeah.
He nails the character. He understands the character.
Mm-hmm.
And when he does, like when you're in the heat of the moment and you're not thinking, you believe The Rock can do some like fucking superhero type shit.
Yeah.
Because he's a video game character. So he's like knocking people through roofs and they're flying up. All types of crazy
The
stuff.
smolder.
Exactly. Yeah.
I can't do it. I'm not
People's
him.
eyebrow.
Yeah.
It's not as high as it used to be, but get it up there. But tell us down below in the comment section, what's your top 5 favorite Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson movies? Scroll back up, hit the like button, share the video, and subscribe.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.